I'm just here for moral support.
I'm going to be the crankiest old lady. She seems like she's deranged.
What?
What a fucking shit show. Good boy.
Bitch, get the fuck out.
I think she could outbucket a minotaur. Why would we go from point A to point G? Recording in progress.
Yup. My eyes are sparkly, but you can't tell because I have glasses on.
I have sparkles. Yes, I do.
Oh my god, Lord.
I have sparkles. How about you? Oh, man. So, we did a monster romance that you did not have to navigate for us this week.
I know.
How do you feel about that?
Pretty great.
Okay.
I can't be the only one who describes the monster sex.
So,
there was a lot of sex in this book.
Though I did notate for myself that
God.
I feel like when we have more of a fantasy type thing, that is probably not my jam to narrate, describe. I don't think that's for me. I struggle, I think, with that. So I think that if we ever do have more outside of just the paranormal is kind of, touching the line, towing the line a little bit. But I think if we have an actual fantasy something,
dude,
I might have to
imagine
recuse
if we
myself.
ever read an actual fantasy book on this.
You would have to hold my hand.
So this week,
yes,
not in a special, Ariel has to talk about a monster romance.
I'm hoping that we talk about it together.
Nah, I'm just here for moral support. I'm just here to watch you.
It'd be kind of boring. We weren't discussing anything.
We are boring, though, I thought. I thought we're super boring.
I mean,
we're not smutty. And we're just not fun. We're not fun.
This is why we can't have nice things.
I saw more videos from the Taylor Swift tour, and she just looks so good. This week,
yes,
we read Audited by the Anubis, a monster romance in the monstrous meet cutes variety of books by Wendi Gogh.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did. And we did read it. And I did read it. And I finished it.
I know that I did. I mean, now we have to be worried about if Crystal's going to read things or not.
This is not like the last book where I didn't read it. Okay? This is the second monster book you've had to do. Because you did Titan. This is the year of Ariel's monster books.
Hey, and I'm all for the monster stuff. I'm all for the shifter stuff. I like all that stuff. I was trying to convince you for the longest time to read the wolf shifter stuff. I don't think you have started it.
No, it's still on my shelf.
I was going to say, I even bought you the first one, and you probably have not even.
Okay, hear me out.
It's going to be one of your
books
summer
are
reads.
On my TBR.
I know, but that's going to be one of your summer reads. It's a physical read. It's going to be one of your summer reads. If you're not doing school this summer, that's going to be one of your summer reads.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Yes, mommy. Auntie would be so proud of me.
Anywho, yes, we read Audited by the Anubis, and this book is about shock and Anubis. And
I was just dancing.
Walk like an Egyptian.
Okay. Anyways.
So our well, that was good while it lasted.
Start over.
To begin our story, we meet our FMC, Fern. She has the day off, so naturally, she's binge watching a show that she likes while eating cookies because why not?
That sounds like a great time for me.
Exactly. I mean, and then just like my nightmare that actually happened today, there's a knock at the door. And unexpected visitors are not a fun time. I don't care who you are. I'm going to be the crankiest old lady. I'm probably going to be one of those kids that they ride by on their bikes going, oh, we got to get by that lady's house.
You're going to be one of the kids on the bike?
No, I'm going to be one of those old ladies where those kids ride by on their bikes and they're like, we got to quickly get past that lady's house.
I was like, you're going to be one of those kids, huh? Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Anyways, continuing. Nightmare.
So there is a knock at Fern's door. And she's frustrated that she just can't swipe or silence it like her phone.
I literally felt it in my bones. Yes. I felt a deep kinship with Fern.
Yes.
Hardcore.
In this moment, it was
Why are we
just.
picking books so close to who we are as people? What is happening?
And then I said, this makes me thankful for how middle of nowhere that I live, because generally people can't just show up at my house. But I wrote that before this morning. So, bully for me. So, through the peephole, Fern spots a 7-foot monster. It's an Anubis, which, if you believe legend, descend from the god of death. Oh boy.
I do love Egyptian lore, though.
Fern decides that it's a good idea to shout, "Nobody's home!" at the door.
It sounds like
And then my
something I would do.
kinship with her died because she became an idiot in my eyes.
Honestly, no, I would have said the same thing.
The man calmly replies that he comes in peace.
Well, to be fair, he
Like
is an
an alien.
Anubis
I
at her
know.
door.
I know.
If the
So
god of death appears at your door.
So she opens the door. The Anubis introduces himself as Anu, so that's original, Anu from the IRS, and explains that he is there to talk about her taxes and that she has been flagged for auditing. Fern invites him in and offers some tea. He smells cookies in the air, but she has to confess to him that she actually just finished eating them all.
And then your kinship came back.
Fern's ex-husband would have been very cruel with this confession, but Anu just says if they tasted as good as they smell, that he can't blame her. Anu asks if she received any of the letters the IRS sent. Fern says yes. Anu asks if she read them. She replies that her mother handles her business taxes. Interesting sidestep. Anu tells her that the reason for his visit is because she hasn't filed her taxes in over 2 years. So, this book is in dual POV. The chapters switch off sometimes where we see the same scene in each point of view.
Not all the time, but the first time it
sometimes.
happened, I was like, wait, why are we redoing this entire scene?
Yes.
So
and it's not all the time, which is why when it does happen, it's kind of odd and throws everything off. And it almost didn't make sense for me in a couple of the moments where it did happen. And I will touch on that again later on a big one. But so
I'll be real that when that happened, I skimmed it.
Yeah, it was an interesting style choice for me
Mhm.
that I was not the hugest fan of, but everybody has their own. So we learn from a news perspective that, shocking, he's very attracted to Fern. So Fern excuses herself to call her mother because, remember, she's the one who's been handling her taxes. And, well, turns out that her narcissistic mother's excuse is that Fern's divorce was a very difficult and traumatic time for her mother. And Fern really caused her so much pain by tearing her family apart.
And it wasn't even as if it was such a hard time for the mom either. It was so hard for her husband because this mother refuses to call this man her ex-husband.
Yeah.
Who is a dum-dum. He is so dumb.
Fern asks her mother where the money is. She set aside each quarter to go towards taxes because Fern is very responsible and she's very good with her business. Her business is a cafe. Well, apparently, the mother thought that the ex, Chet, needed help getting back on his feet.
They should have named this man Kyle.
Let's just say her mom is a giant ass and trash talks Fern, and it's fucking wild. Her mother is insisting Chet had a right to the money as her husband, ignoring all Fern's corrections of X. And she offers to loan Fern money if she reconciles with Chet.
This bitch is gonna offer her money that she stole in the first place. It's not even like she's gonna give it to her. She's literally going to loan it to her so that Fern will have to pay her back. I feel so far that this mother is actually like pretty top of the list of like the worst mothers that we have read so far this year.
Not great. Not great.
Nope. Why doesn't
And
she just marry
I want to know
dude?
what her damage is. Like, she seems like she's deranged. It's just odd.
Yeah.
Anywho,
anyways, sorry.
When she gets off the phone and returns to Anu, he discusses next steps, including actually filing and possibly setting up a payment plan. A distraught Fern bursts into tears. Anu brushes her hair out of her face and tells her they'll get through this together. His kind words and touch all of a sudden turn her on so much that this quickly escalates to a 70s porn style level.
This literally went from zero to like
to
200 hero. So fucking quick. And I was like,
it was
hold on, what?
70s porn level. Like we were just like
early in this book.
Oh, the mailman stopped at my door to deliver a letter. Oh no, I dropped it. Can you pick it up? Yeah. And we still had 90% left of this book. I didn't know where we were going to go from here because I was like, this is just crazy. So, yeah, bear with me while I tell you what happens next. Anu smells her arousal and grabs her ass and starts grinding Fern against him. Fern kisses him, and we learn this is not a normal thing for Anubis, so this is his first kiss. She tells him to keep going, that she's close, and he growls at her to tell him he's a good boy. She does. He's so swept up that he bites her, and they both come. She's shocked by this and confesses that he's the first man to be able to make her come. I feel like we've discussed that a lot recently.
Yeah.
Men suck. All of a sudden, once again, there's a knock at the door. Man, this girl's got more door company than freaking Walmart. I don't know. It's crazy.
What?
I don't know. I didn't know where I was going with that and I lost it.
Were you also hoping you would find it along the way?
Yeah. I did not, in fact, find it. So, unfortunately, that's where we're here. Here we are. I'm back. Did you miss me? Anywho, there's a knock at her door again. It's her mother and Chet. Holy Christmas. Chet sees the wet spot on her pastel-colored pajama pants and asks if she peed her pants. Her mom starts going on about how she needs someone to come and take care of her because at her age, this should not be happening.
I hate these people.
This was fucking wild. Like everything, it was just it was so over the top. And I just kept reading. I don't know. It was like a car crash. I don't know. Anywho, Anu is frustrated by this whole scene and can't hold back any longer. And he tells them, no, it's just her arousal and that she had just come. And she just came. And she just came. What a fucking shit show. Fern's mother asks if Anu is the auditor, and Fern panics and tells them that it's her boyfriend. The mother and Chet look about to blow a fuse, but before they can fully react, Anu grabs Fern, pulls her back inside, slams the door, and locks it. She apologizes for the insanity being heard through the door, because they're now reacting, and for calling him her boyfriend. Anu asks Fern why she did it, and she says that she panicked and knew that if her mom found out that she would call the IRS to get him fired. He says that he should be, that was totally unprofessional. And not only that, but he marked her. She assures him that she bruises easily, no big deal. It will fade quickly. He says, no, it won't. Fern's confused. Anu tells her the mark of an Anubis on their mate is permanent. Fern's insistent that surely neck biting doesn't bond them together like that. He explains that when he was thrown into rut, his body wanted a mate and it took over and it chose her. They're both confused how she as a human could have triggered his rut. He informs her that the bond still needs to be reinforced by branding her with his seed. And this turns Fern on because, again, we're still in that 70s porn video. So keep that in mind. She tries to change the subject, though, and asks if she needs to hire a lawyer for her tax situation. Were you trying to?
I thought I was going to say something, and then I decided, no.
You're going to leave that alone? I'm not going to touch that. Anu assures her that he will walk her through it and take care of everything, that he will be staying in town for the duration. She's like, but we'd be constantly running into each other in this tiny town. He tells Fern there's no escaping him. Plus, now that she had the boyfriend term slip, he can help with a little payback with her family. Anu tells Fern to come on a date with him and she'll learn more, plus get to come again, even harder. She agrees
that would have sold me right there. You didn't even have to tell me anything else.
She's like, let's see, go on this fake date to keep the ruse for my mom and ex-husband and get to come again. What's wrong with that? So she agrees to meet later for dinner. Shocker. Anu heads out and finds a house to short-term rent while he's in town. Fern heads to her cafe that her bestie Sarah is currently manning. She tells Sarah about Anu and the date, and Sarah whisks her upstairs to help get her ready. Solid.
I like
Anu,
her.
yeah.
Sarah's cool beans.
Anu is waiting at the restaurant when Fern walks in. Seeing her makes his inner self war with itself. Apparently, Anu is a born alpha, like his ridges, knot, and piercing on his
As soon
cock.
as I saw that, I was like,
I know.
what?
Apparently denote him as an alpha from birth. So, I mean,
Okay.
whoa now, Nelly,
Okay.
right? But he also feels a yearning to be submissive. He fantasized about both tackling and taking her, and also getting on his knees and hoping for a good boy from her.
And you know what? We don't get a lot of good boy
Oh,
in
in
normal
general.
books.
Oh,
In this
yes,
book,
yes. I was going to say in
absolutely.
this book. Yeah, yeah.
We don't read a lot of those.
No. Once Fern sits down, he notices how uncomfortable she seems. She doesn't like all the attention. The entire restaurant is watching them. They're in a very small town. Having a monster there is like a big deal. They're nosy busybodies, in case you didn't know.
I mean,
I'd probably stare if I saw an Anubis too. Just saying.
I'm nosy.
I try
Especially
to,
where there's
but
not
like,
so many monsters just
I'd be like,
chilling. And it's a really, really small town too. There's only
right.
5,000 people in this town.
Anu makes a joke to the room about pie, and everyone relaxes and goes about their business. So, good job, buddy. Good boy. The waitress comes.
Though honestly, the only thing I could think of every time she said that was like treating him like a dog.
Which was kind of the theme, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. The waitress comes with menus and to take their drink order. Fern seems distraught that the restaurant has gotten new, revamped menus. Anu quickly realizes through his own dyslexic experience that Fern struggles with the ability to read. He asks her for help choosing a meal and names several menu options. This helps them both make their choices in the order. They have easy conversation and banter and enjoy their meal together. Fern invites Anu back to her house for dessert, but not chocolate, since it upsets all Anubis stomachs, as Fern says, like dogs. They arrive back at Fern's house and collide, dessert obviously forgotten, for what they really want. Anu starts going down on her, snout and all, which there's quite some snout action, let me just tell you. He doesn't stop until she's a pile of mush in a puddle. Like a fucking puddle, man. Like so much so they say they have to probably get some dry cleaning done. Just want you to have that mental picture for you in your head. So here's where it kind of gets weird for me for a minute. He starts to refer to his alpha as its own entity, and that's a little weird, just saying. I didn't like that part. I'm just going to point blank say
Yeah,
it
it
now.
was a lot.
Yeah, I think he has a little DID and he needs to figure that out.
Literally, that's all I could think of.
Fern wants to return the favor. Anu says tonight is about her. She says that she'll feel awkward if he doesn't get to come, and he asks if he can come on her thighs. Paint her. Mark her.
He already bit her, so why not?
Right? She gets to see him in all his glory for the first time and is fascinated by his cuff and piercing. He marks her. Fern says it's the best dessert ever. Anu says her real dessert would have been amazing, but that he agrees. She invites him back tomorrow to actually try it. The real dessert. Maybe. We don't know, because then all of a sudden we have this odd time jump where it says Anu and Fern have been getting to know each other for the past 5 days, both with the audit and the fake dating. So who knows?
Imagination.
Imagination. Pure.
Nope.
Nope. Nope. Okay.
Nope. Stop
So
right there.
we nope. Yeah. We find Fern at the cafe with Sarah. Fern comes clean to Sarah about being dyslexic, and Sarah confesses to actually being a Nephilim, sort of like a life elf. And the besties vow to help each other accept themselves and carve away because Sarah does not want to embrace her life, but they also want to help her thrive and enjoy life, and they want Fern to be able to read and accept herself for who she is. Anu has been going through all the cafe's paperwork and records back at Fern's house. Shockingly, to no one, he spots some discrepancies that make it seem like Fern's mom has been skimming from the business. Anu decides that he needs to investigate further when he hears the front door unlock. Chet is the one opening the door and helping himself into Fern's house. The mother gave him a key.
Fern had already changed the locks on this house so that he couldn't get in anyways. And
Yep.
Fern really suspected that her mom had given him a key, but she couldn't prove it yet.
It didn't really dawn on her until when Anu pulled her back and they deadbolted it when they were outside. So it should have been a priority to redo it. But even though Chet is the one breaking in, he is very angry to find Anu there. He threatens to call the cops for trespassing.
This man has all the audacity, and he is so dumb.
All the audacity.
All the audacity.
He's like, you're in my house. You're trespassing on my house.
Bitch, get the fuck out.
Anu is like, call them, but you're waiting outside, and picks him up by the back of his shirt and tosses him out the door and deadbolts it.
Okay.
So Anu then explains everything over the phone to Fern, and she's going to finish up at the cafe quickly and head home so she can deal with this. So then there's this confusing part where, in Anu's point of view, the mom pulls up in a car outside while they're on the phone. But then when the point of view switches to Fern, the mom is walking in the door at the cafe, just as I thought she was about to leave. But that's when I realize
that they're showing the point of view happening.
Prior to, yes. Mm-hmm. And it's just odd. You want a book to kind of flow where there's not that confusion. I wasn't a particular fan of that kind of.
Yeah, this isn't the only book that I've read that does that. And it still gets me every time.
Books like that, but they're not usually as confusing as this. Anywho, the mom's at the cafe. Her mom wants Fern to stop embarrassing everyone by dating the monster. Poor Chet. I roll.
Fuck Chet. I don't care about this man.
Fern actually stands up for herself.
Is the mom and Chet fucking? Is that what's happening?
I needed more on that. Like, this mom is like delusional.
I need to know all of this. I just want a book on what the fuck is happening.
Right? Like, tell me what's going on. It had all the 70s porn of like, we don't know what's going on. Like, there's no
where there the plot takes a back seat to the sex.
And
sometimes that's okay.
It was a ride, and it
was something. Okay, it was absolutely a ride. And he rode her.
So anywho, yeah, Fern actually stands up for herself this time, and Sarah reams the mom a new one. I would also like to note that I hate that we don't know her name. So I have to continuously reference her as the mom or Fern's mom. Just saying. It's frustrating. So the mom storms out, and then that weird mom location shit sorts itself out, Yeah. And so we're back. And back at the house, Anu sees the mom grab onto Chet, put her in her car, and they drive off. Again, we know nothing. Strange. Anywho,
Jon Snow.
Yes. Fern arrives home, and since there's no mom or Chet to handle, they pack up the records that he had set aside that he needs to go through and scan, and they bring them back to his rental. Apparently, Anu can see ghosts, and one haunts the rental. He learns that Fern can see her too when they bring everything inside. This is a weird add-on. Anu asks Fern to spend the night, and with Fern's help, Anu finds out that they are both switches in the bedroom, because he didn't know that was like an actual thing that he could embrace.
Oh, you poor sweet summer child.
I know. He goes down on her, and then it's her turn to play. She goes down on him and learns about his ridges and discovers his knot. She asks to try it, and he says no, that it can only be done with an omega or it would hurt the person. She then makes him zip back up his pants so that they can recreate their first moments together. This was weird. Even asking him to bite her again. So they do it. And Anu says it's his turn as he flips her onto all fours and takes his cock back out. And he fucks her hard, and then they clean up and lay in each other's arms until Fern falls asleep. Wild time. Anu can't sleep. He is officially bonded now. He
has shared his
every
mark, his
fluids,
cum,
everything. Yeah.
everything.
And he's distraught because he knows that she will call to him for the rest of his life. But he would never force that on her. I mean, after all, she's just a human. She doesn't understand these things. And she doesn't understand the full sense of all this. And he gets up and works on scanning Fern's finances instead. Anu calls his dark Nephilim friend, Ender. He asks for his help looking into Fern's financials
How
on the
creative of a name.
Anu. Like, right, yeah. A lot of these were pretty on the nose. He asks for his help looking into Fern's financials on the DL away from the IRS to be able to help her. The ghost pops up a little later on to
Dude,
yell.
I love these ghosts. So great.
To yell that Fern's house is on fire. This wakes Fern, and they get up and get dressed to rush off. The house is indeed engulfed in flames. It's fucking rough. Like, it's obvious that it's just lost. They give the officer at the scene their info so Anu can get Fern out of there. She doesn't have to watch that. He brings her back to the rental, and Sarah and her aunt, who is the lady who rented to Anu, are outside next door, and then they see them and usher them inside the aunt's house. Sarah and Fern cry into each other's arms. Anu's phone rings. It's the officer from the fire. The cafe, which Sarah lives over, is also on fire. She confirms, the officer confirms, these were no accident and is concerned for Fern's safety. The officer asks if there's somewhere that's safe that she can go that isn't really known about. The ghost pipes in that she has the perfect place. So interesting. They, and by they I mean all of them, Fern, Anu, the aunt, Sarah, and the ghost, hop in a car and drive to some old cabin that belonged to an old man whore that both the ghost and the aunt used to like go to this cabin to fuck.
Funny.
Like, it's just wild. Who's now a ghost too and haunts that place. So the ghost from the rental and the ghost now from the cabin get into it, and then they head off. So, oh boy. The next morning, the officer calls again and confirms that it was indeed Chet who set the fires. He's in custody, being charged with arson and attempted murder. This means with him,
does not seem smart enough to do that. I'm just saying.
No,
really,
it's the mother. It's the mother's goon.
Go burn this down. Yes, ma'am.
It's like
mommy.
Cruella DeVille and her henchmen.
Yeah, except I think there's more sexual things going on in that
probably
relationship.
This means with Chet locked up, it's safe to return. Sarah's aunt encourages Anu and Fern to stay one more night. They're going to take the car back, and Sarah will pick them up when they're ready. Fern and Anu cuddle for a while until Fern breaks the silence by asking him to knot her. Like, that was a little random, but okay.
He's wanted it this whole time, and he's told her no. But now,
Anu reiterates that his knot, he reiterates his knot spiel. Like, that's not going to work. Like, this is not for you. But she is insistent. So he agrees to try it, even though he believes that it will be unsuccessful. Fern dons on an apron because she doesn't have lingerie, and that's her next best thing. And Anu makes this work and grabs dessert toppings from the kitchen. It doesn't take long before the apron is off and Anu is licking whipped cream and toppings off Fern's body. They're having a wild time. Anu even adds his own topping. Wink, wink, if you know what I mean. And Crystal's gone.
That made me want to vomit.
Just wait, there's more, baby. I don't know. Hold on. Maybe. I have no idea. So we're going to find out. We'll find out together.
This is literally the episode of Ariel just finding it along the way.
Eventually, Fern steers them back in the nodding direction, and Anu starts fucking her. He fucks her hard, and he fucks her until she has come enough and is wet enough that he feels comfortable with the attempt. And I don't know how this woman can come this much.
She is like a goddamn waterfall. But you know what? You know what they always say? Don't go chasing water.
She just has this button that apparently you just press it and she just comes like over and over again.
But only Anu has.
Only Anu can find. Yeah.
He is allowed to go chase those waterfalls. Everyone else needs to stick to the rivers and the lakes that they're used to.
Chase the waterfalls.
Why are we like
Anu
this?
pulls her on top of him and starts slamming her down on top of him.
Okay.
She over and over again. She tries to get him to lose more control by biting him like he does for her. And it works. And they come together as he knots her. And then she continues to come and come and come until she passes out. She
needs liquid IV.
Yeah, she does.
Oh my God. That is
a really good thing she eats dozens of cookies at a time because she needs her sustenance.
It's not even that. No, she needs the liquid IV for hydration. This woman is coming buckets.
I know.
You know how minotaurs come buckets?
I was just about to say, I think she could out bucket a minotaur. Just saying. She wakes to a panicked Anu, worried that she's hurt. She's not hurt. She's fabulous. She is feeling fresh. They wait for his knot to go down and they clean up and head to bed. Apparently, Anu's friend Ender sent an urgent text like 6 hours ago, prior to all the fuckery, pun intended, needing Anu to meet him in the Vale. So Anu tells Fern to go back to sleep when she stirs, because he's moving around, and that he will be back quickly. He goes outside and creates a portal and crosses into the Vale. He meets up with Ender. Ender tells him that he confirmed the embezzling, but followed it to an offshore account. The account also had a safety deposit box. This is what he thinks is imperative for Anu to see. He hands Anu a mangled metal box. He literally retrieved the safety box from the bank, brought it into the Vale, and dropped it at Anu's feet to look at. Why this got me so much of all this shit. In the box is a scroll, an afterlife papyrus, something that can't be destroyed. I don't know, whatever.
Papyrus? Is it not papyrus?
Maybe.
Isn't that how you pronounce that word? Is papyrus?
Could be. No idea, honestly.
Spell it for me.
I'm Googling it right now. It's a real word. Pronunciation.
So fucking done.
Papyrus. What did I say? It's papyrus. So I don't know. Well, I don't know what that is. I thought they made it up.
Papyrus is a type of paper.
Well, yeah, I see that now. I don't know. I teach people how to read, not what they fucking read on.
Papyrus is.
Teach what they fucking read on. They can read on chalkboards. It doesn't matter.
Oh my God.
Listen, I say things to you all the time and you're like, oh, you're so fancy over here. I don't know what that word means.
We've learned about Egypt in the entirety of our existence. Papyrus is a very common word. Papyrus is a font.
Is it?
Yes.
I usually just do the Arial one or whatever. Whatever comes in. I don't change the font.
I didn't mean to derail us, but I mean,
Hey, I'm allowed to have dumb moments, okay? I am very dumb at a lot of things. Apparently the British pronounce it papyrus. So I was just British. Sorry.
No, you said papyrus. You didn't even. I'm
like, I don't even know what I said. All right, I'll stop digging myself into a hole now.
Please do. Just keep going. Now you know how to say the word.
In the box is a scroll, an afterlife papyrus. It is something that can't be destroyed in any realm. It is from Fern's father. It was willed to Fern upon his death. It explains that he feels that he failed her as a father, and let the mother convince him not to tell her that she is, you ready for this, of Anubis descent. That his great-grandmother was an Anubis. Anu rushes back and wakes Fern. He shows her the scroll. This is where Fern explains to Anu about her dyslexia and her illiterateness, because her mother never allowed her to try to work on it and actually learn how to read, whether she was reading on real paper or papyrus, whatever the fuck. Doesn't matter. She couldn't learn how to read at all.
Did you say it wrong on purpose?
Papyrus.
Papyrus.
That's not what Google just told me.
It is not papyrus, because that isn't how you spell it.
Papyrus.
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 There is no R before the Y.
Papyrus. Yes.
Yes, but you're saying papyrus, like Dracarys.
Papyrus.
It is
Yeah.
not that. That is not, no. Just continue. Papyrus.
Papyrus.
Thank you.
She asks him to read it for her. She realizes that when her mother read this for her after her father passed, that the mom made something up. Shocker. Like, really? Fern is shocked. We aren't. And Anu tells her that it will be okay, that they will get through this together. She's like, but you only did all this with me to help keep up the ruse with my mom and my ex. Like, there's no we. And he's like, no, it's never been fake. That her being part Anubis changes everything. And that the mating bond would be complete and full on both sides. And he explains the whole thing for her, like that we all know. He explains to her. And she explains that she would still want to be with him regardless. She doesn't want it to be fake either. And that she realizes, actually, that she loves him. He just growls and says mine, and then dives at her and licks down her body and then eats her out. Too worked up to keep going and can't wait, and then he flips her on her stomach, sheds his clothes, and thrusts home. Things click for him, and he realizes that Fern is an Omega. Oh, no! And then he knots her.
Again?
Did you not get to that part?
No, I did. I'm just.
I gotta be sure now. I gotta check. They laze about in bed after several rounds throughout the night. They talk about next steps. They want to visit Egypt in the winter. They talk about finishing filing the taxes, rebuilding the cafe, and they talk about her mother and finally being able to just have space. She explains she has only given so much because she promised her father on his deathbed to take care of her mother and never leave her. Anu tells her basically like, shit. A deathbed promise among Anubis is binding. Only upon one of their death will it break. And she's like, fuck. He's like, we'll figure it out. All of a sudden, the door slams open. Dun-dun-dun. It's the mom with a gun. Whoa. This is just whiplash everywhere. So many angles. She's angry that the account was discovered and that the box was taken, and she's gonna fix things once and for all. She fires the gun at Anu. Fern leaps at him, taking the bullet instead, right in the chest. It's not good. Anu conjures a portal and brings her to the veil. He asks Ender for help. Ender says, he brings death. You need someone who can bring life. Anu makes another portal to Sarah and convinces her to come back with him. So back in the veil, Ender walks Sarah through saving Fern. Sarah collapses and spasms. Ender explains that her wings are being born. Her wings are fucking huge, guy. Fern awakens and is explained that she died, and Sarah made her ultimate sacrifice and brought her back to life. She's distraught over Sarah having to do this, knowing what it means for her. She also realizes that if she died, then she actually is finally free of her mother. So, awesome sauce, cool beans.
Fuck that bitch.
Sarah wakes, and the ladies hug in relief for one another. Ender announces that Sarah is staying to heal and learn. Sarah is basically all like, fuck I am. And Ender is all, try to leave then. You probably can't even stand up on your own. She got these fucking massive wings that she can't even like do anything with. Fern and New head back like, yeah, good luck with all that, guys. We're gonna leave. So 1 month later, we find Fern helping Anu celebrate his first Thanksgiving. She even invited his family as a surprise. Fern has been taking classes learning to read, so she's doing well with all that. After an amazing meal, Anu gets down on one knee and proposes. Fern shrieks yes. Everyone is happy and celebrating. Anu gets a text from Ender that he's outside, so Anu goes out. Ender needs a favor. He wants to kidnap someone. He wants to kidnap Sarah. Anu's like, what the fuck? No. And then Fern pops out the door. Oh, hi, Ender. Happy Thanksgiving. And Ender's like, we were discussing a favor Anu owes me. And she's like, oh, maybe I can help. And Anu's like, no, as Ender explains that he needs to kidnap Sarah. And she just laughs and laughs and laughs and says, you promised him a favor, didn't you? Anubis don't break promises. And Ender's all like, I'll text you details. And then he pieces out. And that's the end of our book.
Also, just so you know, their book is book 6. Theirs is not the next book. And it's not even out yet.
We end like that, and theirs is not the what?
The next book is
That's how this book ends, and it's not the next book?
Nope. The next book is about a Cthulhu.
Well, I'm not reading it.
I would read it. It's chaos.
On purpose, because it should be. Why would we go from point A to point G? So who's your favorite character?
I was waiting for you to ask.
I was sitting here like,
I really liked Sarah.
Me too. That's why I picked.
She's dope. I like her a lot. Who was your least favorite?
Which is why.
Oh, sorry. Why you're mad that it's not the next book?
Yeah. So sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. Who's your least?
The mom, who doesn't even have a name.
The mom and the ex-husband.
Yeah, but I think the mom was puppeteering, so she's worse for me.
Yeah, that makes sense. Terrible person. Fucking hated that bitch.
Yep.
Stupid bitch. Alrighty, so
Whole bags.
Amazon gives us a 4.4 and Goodreads gives us a 4.0. Where are you sitting at?
So I enjoy my fair share of out-of-the-box monster romances. I had a little trouble with the stylistic hop-arounds this one did, as well as the many, I felt, ends that didn't meet. Like, why is her mom like that? We don't know a lot, but it is what it is because, I mean, we know what the plot was meant to be in this book. So I gave this 3 stars. Yeah. So I gave this 3 stars because for what it was.
Same. Like I had a good time, but again, yes, I wish
it was a roller coaster. I never knew what was gonna come next because
neither did I. And you know what? It was great.
Sometimes that's fun though, but it had no rhyme or reason though, so it was a little weird.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
What did you cucumber rate this?
Like a 5 or 6.
I gave it a 5 too.
There was sex in that. That's for damn sure.
Oddly enough, I really was kind of weirdly into the snout thing that they kept talking. Like, I don't know, he just had his snout going. But I got confused about how much
of Anubis like stuff. So
and I got confused about how much they talked about his paws because do you have paws or do you have thumb? Like you did all this stuff. Like it just I don't know. It was odd.
I don't know. He's an Anubis. I think they have paws.
Right, but he was holding things, and I don't know.
Maybe he's got paws with opposable thumbs. I don't know.
And his ridges and his piercing. I wish I had more of that kind of stuff, but I mean, it was in there. But yeah, so 5.
It was interesting. I liked it.
About survivability for you.
I would be fine.
Me too.
Sounds like a great time. I would be very dehydrated though.
Yeah.
I would need lots of water, some electrolytes.
Yeah.
Lots of snacks.
I probably would have kicked the mom and Chet to the curb a long time ago.
She was a little naive in that aspect, but you know, it's fine. Yeah. So
fun time for me. It's time. It is time.
It is.
It is time. It's time for Sapphire Scars. The 3rd installment in the Jewelry Box series is coming at you. Next week, we're going to talk about it.
Hell yeah, bitch. It'll be great. It'll be so good.
Great.
So great.
Super excited because last time, once again, we were left on a cliffhanger with Emerald Bruises. So if you haven't read or listened to Emerald Bruises yet, now's the time to get caught up because Sapphire Scars is coming your way.
And if you want to know exactly what's going on throughout the whole series, you can even go back and listen to the first one.
Ruby Tears first. Yep.
There you go. That way you can be fully caught up because sometimes with longer times between books, and I know we were cranking them out pretty quick, sometimes you forget some details. So it is sometimes nice to go back and re-listen and see what you may have missed and just get like a kind of refresher as to what's going on so you're not so confused. But you know what? Sometimes everyone's confused, but we always get there in the end. Sorry. Anyways, so join us next week as we delve into
Sapphire Scars by Pepper Winters.
Yes.
And make sure to keep reading.
And keep it smutty.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, fuck.